Hello, my name is Robert. I'm a member of Naranon, and I'm speaking as a member, not as a representative. Are you the same today as you were when you joined Naranon? I know I have changed. Naranon gave me tools to help me change. Meetings, steps, sponsors, service, and just showing up. Naranon has also changed. The first group started in the 1960s. They did not talk to each other, and only one survived. When Narnon Incorporated, there was a board of trustees, but one person actually made all the decisions. When that person left Narnon, the board of trustees took over. The first World Service Conference did not occur until 2006. Today, the board of trustees still makes most of the decisions. Groups get to vote on motions, and delegates hold conferences to vote on motions. Naranon today does not work like Naranon did before conferences. And Naranon before conferences did not work like Naranon did before that. Change is taking place. Slowly, the right to make decisions is shifting from the Board of Trustees to the groups. Today, the way those changes occur is through motions. Think about that word, motions. Motion implies movement, and movement says we're traveling. We can just go in circles, or we could be on a journey. There's supposed to be about 100 motions prepared for the 2023 World Service Conference. Some will simply help us be more comfortable while we sit here and wait. Some will help us with our journey. I have a small list of motions that will change the way decisions are made. Some are boundaries, some are changed behaviors. Boundaries and changed behaviors are tools we use when we changed our lives. Those same tools can help change Naranon. Here's a sampling of the motions that will change the boundaries. Car number 4, Iran number 8, Russia number 2 ask for the World Service Conference to be virtual so groups worldwide can participate. Central California number 36 asks that we begin now and start planning for whatever the next crisis might be. We had COVID, now we have a financial crisis. Who knows what's coming next? But we can begin planning how to respond more effectively. Columbia 5, Northern California 5 asks that reports given to the board be shared with the fellowship in a timely manner. Iran number 9, with an amendment from the Western regions, suggests that board members can only serve one term in their lifetime. This will improve service rotation and bring fresh perspective to the service structure. Rocky Mountain 1 says that motions passed during a conference should take effect at the end of that conference rather than waiting for the next conference cycle. For example, some floor motions were passed in 2021 that we will not be allowed to vote on until 2023, even though they were approved in 2021. It's a long delay. Rocky Mountain number 4, Russia number 9, asked the World Service Conference to provide time for open discussion about important topics. Western Regions is working on number 23B, asking that financial reports be shared with the fellowship every quarter rather than waiting until the end of the year. There are also a few motions that would change the behavior of the structure. Central California number 22, Iran number 12, Both suggest that delegates vote in the World Service Conference, and the board only gets one vote. Currently, every member of the board is given a vote. This would change it so only the chair of the board would be voting. Central California number 40 asks that board bulletins go through the fellowship for review before they take effect. Currently, board bulletins are created by the board and distributed. Some think that means they're directives from corporate structure. Some think those are suggestions and guidelines that we should probably pay attention to. Some say it's merely an opinion. If the fellowship was allowed to review those bulletins, provide input, make corrections, and then vote on them, then they would be part of our guidelines. Russia has a motion Western Regions is working on an amendment to that says that an emergency or interim World Service Conference can be called at any time, either by the Board of Trustees or by the delegates. Western Regions number 23A asks for the delegates to review and approve an annual budget in advance. Currently, Budget and Finance Committee proposes a budget. I've heard that the board votes on it, although I have some board members who say they haven't seen one, and then it's approved. This would bring it back to the groups, allow the groups to review the budget, pass their opinion to the delegates, and the delegates would then vote. For more information on these motions, go to the website for the World Representatives Forum, and the link is shown here in this slide. We have motion, but where is this journey taking us? I believe we're traveling the same path as other 12-step fellowships already traveled. All of the 12-step fellowships began with one wise person who created their fellowship. All of the 12-step fellowships struggled to organize World Service conferences. Then nearly all the 12-step fellowships took the next step. They adopted consensus-based decision-making. That is the name Narcotics Anonymous gave their new way to organize. Other fellowships use different names for the same basic arrangement. The decisions are made by the groups. The Board of Trustees serve the groups. The Executive Director works on behalf of the groups. Narcotics Anonymous calls their decision process consensus-based decision-making, and the slide shows a link to their primary document. Al-Anon calls their knowledge-based decision-making, and the slide shows the links to 3 of their documents. Earlier, I said you can find more information about these motions by going to the website for the World Representatives Forum. This is a new communication tool created by the delegates. A few years ago, there was a chat group for the delegates, but it was largely unused until just before a conference. This new forum is used constantly. Chat messages are posted nearly every day. Planning meetings and discussion meetings are held every few weeks. There's a website. Information is exchanged so all the regions have an opportunity to hear about what other regions are doing. The right to exist has been challenged repeatedly. They've been denied the right to use a Nar-Anon email account, so they use other tools instead. The World Representatives Forum focuses on the traditions and concepts. So allow me to read them. The 12 traditions of Nar-Anon family groups. Our group experience suggests that the unity of the Narnon family groups depends upon our adherence to these traditions. 1. Our common welfare should come first. Personal progress for the greatest number depends on unity. 2. For our group purposes, there is but one authority. A loving God is may express himself in our group conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants. They do not govern. 3. The relatives of addicts, when gathered for mutual aid, may call themselves a Narnon family group, provided that as a group, they have no other affiliation. The only requirement for membership is there be a problem of addiction in a relative or friend. 4. Each group should be autonomous except in matters affecting other Narnon family groups, or NA, as a whole. 5. Each Narnon family group has but one purpose, to help families of addicts. We do this by practicing the 12 steps of Narnon, by encouraging and understanding our addicted relatives, by welcoming and giving comfort to families of addicts. 6. Our families groups ought never to endorse, finance, or lend our name to any outside enterprise, lest problems of money, property, and prestige divert us from our primary spiritual aim. But although a separate entity, we should always cooperate with Narcotics Anonymous. 7. Every group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. 8. Narnon 12-step work should remain forever non-professional, but our service centers may employ special workers. 9. Our groups as such ought never to be organized, but we may create service boards or committees directly responsible to those they serve. 10. The Narnon family groups have no opinion on outside issues, hence our name ought never be drawn into public controversy. 11. Our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, films, internet, and other forms of mass media. We need guard with special care the anonymity of all NA members. 12. Anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles above personalities. The 12 concepts of Narnon service. Just as freedom for the individual comes from the 12 steps, and freedom for the group springs from the 12 traditions, so freedom for the service structure flourishes from the 12 concepts. 1. To fulfill our fellowship's primary purpose, the Narnon family groups have joined together to create a structure that develops, coordinates, and maintains services on behalf of Narnon as a whole. 2. The final responsibility and authority for Narnon services rest with the Narnon family groups. 3. The Narnon family groups delegate to the service structure the authority necessary to fulfill the responsibilities assigned to it. 4. Effective leadership is highly valued in Narnon. Leadership qualities should be carefully considered when selecting trusted servants. 5. For each responsibility assigned to the service structure, a single point of decision and accountability should be clearly defined. 6. Group conscience is the spiritual means by which we invite a loving higher power to influence our decisions. 7. All members of the service body bear substantial responsibility for that body's decisions and should be allowed to fully participate in its decision-making processes. 8. Regular two-way communications are essential to the fulfillment of all these concepts and to the integrity and effectiveness of our services themselves. 9. All elements of our service structure have the responsibility to carefully consider all viewpoints in their decision-making processes. 10. Any member of a service body can petition that body for the redress of a personal grievance without fear of reprisal. 11. Narnon funds are used to further our primary purpose, to carry the message, and must be managed responsibly. 12. In keeping with the spiritual nature of Narnon, Our structure should always be one of service, never of governance.